Hi, I'm Dave Griffith of Corso Systems. Welcome to Process and Control, our second video in the Intelligent Automation series. Our first video on the automation pyramid is linked below if you'd like to start with that. Today we'll talk about process equipment, control systems, which is either your DCS, your distributed control system, or your PLC SCADA combination. Your PLC is your programmable logic controller, and SCADA is your supervisory control and data acquisition. We'll also talk about instrumentation, which is the level between the process equipment and the control system that makes them work, as well as selecting a system. A little bit about Corso. We're a systems integration firm with true coast-to-coast coverage. We focus on manufacturing execution systems, information systems, business system integration, and other high-level system integration. We're a true top floor to shop floor solutions provider, meaning that we'll do your high-end integration and we'll also work on your HMI SCADA as well as all of your PLC needs. Going back to the automation pyramid, here you can see all 5 layers that we talked about in the last video. And then today we're going to talk about the bottom 2 layers, again the process equipment and the control systems. Starting with the process equipment, it's really your foundation, such as your pumps and valves. For an example, a refinery is going to receive raw materials, which are stored in large tanks. These materials are pumped into distillation units, heated and fractionated. Each fraction is then processed further to remove impurities or further distilled into other products. Finished products are going to be blended with additives or shipped to other facilities for more processing. Manually, this would be extremely labor intensive and not safe for operators. That's where instrumentation comes in. That's the layer between process equipment and the control system that allow them to be connected. These are your sensors and transmitters. For example, your VFDs on pumps. You're going to get your pressure, your temperature, and your level data from them. Typically, they're going to be hardwired into your PLC or your DCS. And after the data is in the control system, the instrumentation will allow the operators to control the process based on the current conditions and requirements. Your control systems are basically your hardware. Now, large-scale refineries, it's typically going to be a DCS, and smaller facilities are typically going to go with a PLC SCADA option. Functionally, they're going to be similar as they're both designed to automate the process, and they're going to give operators a software interface to monitor and control the process. This is where the process historian that we talked about came in. And please note that the PLC SCADA option is really bridging the gap with the DCS based off of improvements in database integration, standardized control logic, process graphics, and hardware redundancy. Now your DCS versus your PLC SCADA, the major difference is really architecture. Your DCS is integrated with controllers, I/O, your process historian, and operator interface. You're going to have many controllers operating specific equipment or areas of the process. Vendors typically offer a standard controller and I/O hardware options for simplification of process. It's easy to implement redundancy. An operator interface is built directly into the DCS by design, and the top-to-bottom integration can simplify system development. Now, your PLC and SCADA are individual components that need to be integrated into the system. You're going to get many more options in both the hardware and the software compared to the DCS. The PLC and associated I/O can be specified to meet the specific process requirements with many levels of cost and functionality available, and the same process controlled by a PLC would typically use 1 or 2 controllers in the same process in a DCS. And your SCADA is going to provide the operator interface, and it can be easily integrated with the PLC, especially if they're made by the same vendor. Selecting a system. We don't live in a bubble, and many things come down to cost. This is going to be broken down into implementation cost and long-term maintenance obligations like training operators and support costs. On a technical level, there may be components in a DCS that are not available in a PLC or vice versa. As the technology improves, this is becoming less and less of a factor, but please confirm with specific equipment you're looking at. In general, this will come down to people working with the system, And if someone already has experience and comfortability with one of those systems, that's very important. It's also very important to make sure that an implementation starts off on a positive note. In many facilities, this decision has already been made with expansions following the existing systems in place, and new facilities are going to require some research into the right type of the system for the job. And this is something that Corso specializes in, and we'd be more than happy to help you from the very beginning. Again, I'm Dave Griffith with Corso, and I'd like to thank you for watching this video. A link to the corresponding post is below on the screen. You'll find my contact information if you want to reach out direct. And there's also a link to the next video in the series, Process Intelligence Tools.